Everybody has different ways of expressing love, or what they love in life. For some, it's making fan art, writing deep essays about it, or just owning things. I'm more of a thing guy myself, and things come in many shapes and sizes, but I especially enjoy them when they come in the shape of a property I already like. Now, most of the time in life, you would exchange green paper to get things, but some companies absolutely refuse to take my green paper. Now, you may know Intelligent Systems from that game series with a fanbase that constantly argues about how the new games are garbage, that occasionally mentions the game series that has a fanbase that constantly argues about how the new game's garbage. Now, I happen to be a fan of this series, and I also happen to be a fan of things, so today we'll go through the history of Fire Emblem merch and the stunning lack of it. First things first, there's of course the extra material that comes with the games themselves, such as the box and the instruction manual. While they're not figures or anything, they are non-game materials that people like displaying, and they can be pretty neat to browse through. Like, let's look here. Wow, a picture of Borscht that I can't read. Just what I've always wanted. Now, sometimes if you pre-order special editions of games, you can get extra goodies like music CDs and this new Mystery of the Emblem art book with key art of all the characters and descriptions. Also, some pretty not safe for work stuff, but this is Fire Emblem, so this isn't exactly new territory. Now that we're done with the extra goods that come with the games themselves, let's move on to outside merch. The first merch I was able to find was a trading card game released in the August of 2001. It's strange that they didn't start making it in the 90s when the series started being huge in Japan, and instead chose to start making it a year after Thracia 776 drove the series into a ditch sales-wise. However, that doesn't speak to the quality of the cards themselves, as they feature very nice art of every character from the Arcanea and Judge All games, even those who are cut in Mystery of the Emblem like Riz and Daros, and even some minor bosses from Genealogy. Surprisingly, there are no characters from Valentia, but given the questionable source material they were working with there, I don't exactly blame them. However, I sadly can't judge the quality of the cards themselves, since I was unable to find any on eBay or any platform really, and information about it on the internet is scarce. If you have any extra information about them, please leave it in the comments. Luckily, we can still judge the quality of the art, and it's pretty nice. It has that classic anime style, and it's nice for what it is, but it pales in comparison to the next card game IS released. However, it did feature every playable character from the series they represented, unlike the next card game that IS made. Now, this card game ran from 2001 to 2006, and surprisingly never introduced characters from the games that released around that time, like Binding Blade and Blazing Sword, despite Blazing Sword being the best-selling game in the franchise at that time since it was the first one to release worldwide. Now, if you think this time frame for releasing merch is bizarre like I do, just wait, this is only the beginning. Next up, we have a set of Genealogy of the Holy War figures that were made in 2006 by Angels Per Santo Ltd. As far as I can tell, these were the first figures made for Fire Emblem, and they all look quite good. They're quite small since they came in one of those little random boxes that you would see in the checkout of a Target or a store like that. They all look quite nice and well done, and I might pick one of them up someday. However, again I find the release date strange since Path of Radiance was the last game to come out, and Radiant Dawn would come out the next year, so you would think these figures would be of the Grail Mercenaries. However, Genealogy is quite popular in Japan, and Path of Radiance didn't sell that well in comparison, so I suppose that might be the reason. Overall, I quite like these, and I hope you do too, since it's the last FE merch you're gonna see for quite a while. As a brief side note, Amiibo started coming out in 2014, and Marth was part of the first series of them, so technically the Smash series rebooted Fire Emblem merchandise before the official Fire Emblem merch started coming out by itself again. There are numerous reports of the quality of these figures being questionable, though. However, I quite like the ones I have, and there don't seem to be many imperfections on them, although the sword on my Roy is a bit bent. And they're even compatible with Fire Emblem Fates. As far as I can tell, Fire Emblem merch went down the toilet for about a decade after the Genealogy figures, just like the Fire Emblem franchise did after Radiant Dawn and New Mystery of the Emblem only sold 2 copies total. Crazy how a franchise can go down the toilet twice in a single decade. Anyway, after Fire Emblem Awakening and Fates managed to sell more than 2 copies, Fire Emblem merch came back in a big way. In 2015, a high-quality Lucina Figma came out. In 2017, a cute little Marthany android came out. Fire Emblem games started getting their own amiibo. Around the time Three Houses came out, they released beautiful mini replicas of many iconic swords of the series. All the lords featured in Smash got their own plushies, and many, many more things that would take up way too much time to mention in this video. This was quite a time to be into FE merch if you were into that type of thing. However, the Lucina Figma isn't the only thing that came out in 2015. That's right, it's time to talk about Fire Emblem Cypher, the second Fire Emblem trading card game that started in 2015 and ended in 2020. This is a card series that featured characters from every Fire Emblem game instead of just characters from the Arcanea and Judgerall sagas. And we just have to get this out of the way. The art is absolutely stunning. The artwork itself is great, and they somehow managed to pack in little details like Ocello's secret event in FE4. They put an obscure secret like this in official merch, and there are hundreds of these cards. I even have a few of these myself, and I love putting them alongside my other FE merchandise. Wow, a picture of Boris that I can't read. Just what I've always wanted. However, there are some problems with Cypher. In the 2001 TCG, they released every character from the games they featured. However, in Cypher there are some very glaring omissions like Dagdar and Dussel. Now, this wouldn't be a problem for me if they had just run out of time to include all the characters, but this game is flooded by alts. I mean, just look at this. 1 Ike, 2 Ike, 3 Ike, left Ike, right Ike, up Ike, down Ike. I mean, come on. We missed out on official Thomas merch for this. I really feel like they should have focused on completing the roster before making this many alts. The real shame is that the series ended in 2020, likely due to a loss of profit and a certain illness you might have heard about. But in an official statement, they said Fire Emblem Heroes was the replacement for Cypher. Although I don't think a gacha game, where you have no guarantee of getting what you want, with a basic character arc, is exactly a good replacement for real physical merch, but hey, that's just me. However, there's one big problem that plagues Cypher and most of the merch I've mentioned thus far. That problem being that most of this stuff is unavailable for purchase unless you live in Japan. Of course, the original TCG and FE4 figures never came out over here since FE wasn't anywhere close to popular, but Cypher and these cute little fat acrylics only really released in Japan. Sure, we got stuff like the aforementioned Lucina Figma, but we are missing out on a lot. And now that Cypher's ending, a lot of the characters are just going to be thrown into the trash can merch-wise. If you've noticed by now, most of this stuff is only for Lords or extremely popular exceptions like Tiki. Cypher was the only chance for non-Lord characters to get some spotlight, and it's a card game that's cancelled and also never released outside of Japan. Now, I get it, right? Like, Cypher was the best format to do this, and there's no way they could make merch for, like, all of these hundreds of Fire Emblem characters that are somewhat irrelevant. Yes, I know Fire Emblem isn't even close to as popular as Pokemon, but it's still rapidly gaining popularity in the West, and I would appreciate a bit more effort. Surely at least a collection of 3 houses stuff would sell well. However, there is another avenue for getting what you want, and that is, of course, fan-made merchandise. I got these doodads right here at EVO 2019, and this little sprite guy at Frostbite 2019, and really, if you go to any con, I've noticed, like, for games or anything, I've only been to, like, 2 so far, but they both had Fire Emblem merch, and there's a bunch of stuff on FT. You're bound to find stuff for characters you like, when I got these little keychains right here, there was stuff for, like, pretty much all of the Fates characters and some other ones. So, if you really want some Fire Emblem merch, I suggest you go on maybe fan-made sites and support creators that own Intelligent Systems or Nintendo, and I really appreciate the effort fans put into picking up for the company's slack. Anyway, that does it for Fire Emblem merch. I have to say, given the series' recent popularity, it's disappointing that there are so few options for merch, but maybe, since the series' future is so bright, maybe we can expect a lot more soon. Alright guys, and that does it for Fire Emblem merch. My first scripted video, pretty happy with how it went. Did a lot of research. Editing took a really long time. Like, this video is only like 9 minutes long, but I've been editing it for like several hours, and it's a bit of an experiment. If this gets maybe like 500 views and a couple of likes, maybe I'll do another one. And with that, everyone, remember to subscribe if you like what you see, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.